no matter where you go, there you are, says Bukaru Benzai. So as I read this quote, first of all, I didn't understand what the meaning of it, but as I look it over and over, I thought of someone, because no matter where you go, there you are. So which means no matter where you go, there's someone who's thinking about you. So so there's my personal story. So I want to I have 2 points that relate to this quote. The first one is family, and the second one is my best friend. So as most of you think, family is always around you, but for me it's not the case, because about 7 years ago, when I was in middle school, I came to United States to study abroad, and that's from that point I was separated from my family, my parents. So I had hard time because I was lonely and I didn't have any friends when I first came to United States, and I couldn't speak very well, so I couldn't make friends. It was hard for me to make new friends and to someone to talk my problems or my my personal story. But even though we were separated by the distance, my parents were living in Korea and I was living in the United States. But we could always talk on the phone, and my parents would always support me, with encourage me, and so my parents was only people who I can I don't know, who I can trust and I can rely on. And and when I decided to become a musician, they didn't judge me or anything, and they would encourage me or anything, but they would always cheerfully encourage me and support me. So I was able to study music, and that's why I came to California. So I appreciate their help. And the second one is my best friend, who I met in Virginia 7 years ago, and who I still contact with him. In Korea, I had many friends, but I thought I was popular one, and I had many friends. But soon after I came to the United States, I could, I don't know how to say it, but they were I don't know how to say it, but I mean, they were not a true friends, because we hang around and we had fun, but when I had hard times, I wanted to share, but they didn't want to listen, so it was not a true friend. But I met one friend in Virginia 7 years ago when I first came to the United States. He was different. He was very honest, and he listened all my problems, and he was always there for me when I had trouble. He helped me because he's a Korean, but he spoke better English because he came to the United States earlier. So he helped me a lot with schoolwork and homework and a lot of things. And he was we went to church together, so he knew a lot of me, and he would always pray for me, and he supported me, and it was and even though I went to different area like Michigan and California, he always give a call and Okay. So, I think I met a best friend and a true friend. So, in conclusion, so it says no matter where you go, there you are. I think two things that comes in my mind is my family and my best friend. Thank you.
All right, well, it's best not to use the quote as your attention device, but once you got past that, I thought that you had a reasonable interpretation of the quote and found a way to talk about it in a way that was kind of interesting. There's a basic preview in the presentation. That's nice. When you've got the 2-point structure that you're going to talk about, you know what you're going to say on those things. And I thought you had a couple of good illustrations on those points, even though you occasionally express some hesitation about the language or finding the right way to say something. You did a pretty good job explaining what it was you were talking about. I suspect on that second point that the word that you were looking for was acquaintances, that that they are not real friends, they were merely acquaintances. So that's just a language issue. I didn't think that was problematic. I think most of us understood kind of what you were talking about, that they're not exactly the same thing as a real friend. On presentation issues, I think your voice, it's a little subdued and quiet, and occasionally I think it could be a little bit more energetic and engaging, but it's you sound calm, you sound like you know what you're talking about, you're pretty confident in when you're speaking. I didn't count them. I think it's just one of the language issues that we talked about when everybody is putting in a vocalized pause. You might want to check when you watch your speech and see how often you say you know. Because I think it's probably more than you want. So count those up. Just for yourself. You don't have to list them for us. I thought they were good gestures. You look animated while you're speaking to us and thoughtful in the process. I do think maybe the one thing that might be indicative of some anxiety is that you do stand in the one spot the whole time, and you never look like you are kind of getting into where you're speaking. Just, I'm going to talk here, and everything is kind of from the waist up. And you look very involved from the waist up, but from the rest of it, it just doesn't seem like you are kind of engaged quite as much. So that's a minor quibble, something to work on in the future. And I thought you had a pretty solid exit at the end. Apparently, if I keep talking, everybody else is going to give me the evil eye. So thank you.
Can we post ourselves?